So the clarion call right now is to tax the rich, whether it's the wealth tax in California, the millionaire or the millionaire's tax in Washington, Massachusetts. That is the call right now. The rich don't pay their fair share. We need to tax them more. The question is, are there unintended consequences to the economy, to the states that are enacting these, even to the federal government? Should the federal government enact higher taxes? What are the consequences of higher taxes? And we have one of my heroes, frankly, today, Dr. Art Laffer, who is really, I think, the father of supply side economics. And beyond that, he's the father of lower taxes, bringing in higher revenues. And I just want to give a little bit of Dr. Laffer's background, if I could, because it's unbelievable. From 1972 to 1977, Dr. Laffer was a consultant to Secretaries of the Treasury, George Shultz and William Simon. He was the chief economist at the Office of Management and Budget under Mr. Shultz from 1970 to 1972. He was a member of President Reagan's Economic Policy Advisory Board for both of his two terms and was a driver behind the Reagan tax cuts in 1981, 82, 84, and 86, and has also consulted Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher. So, Dr. Laffer, it is truly an honor and a pleasure to have you on the Wealth Ability Show.
My pleasure. The one you missed, which is sort of fun, is I did Jerry Brown's flat tax when he ran. I'm not partisan in the sense, I don't care if you're whatever you are. If you like tax cuts, you're on my team. I've got a room for you at the table. You can be gay, straight, tall, short, fat, skinny, Republican, Democrat. But if you like pro-growth tax cuts and pro-growth policies, I'm your guy.
You were also involved with Prop 13, right, in California?
Yes, very, very much so, all the way up to my neck. And with Jared Polis in Colorado right now, as you may know, Jared.
Okay.
He was an intern in my office at 13 years old. I mean, he's great at his marriage to Marlon. I gave the final toast and all that. What a great governor. He was the one governor, didn't lock down, Democrat, So, I'm just really into growth policies. I think growth solves just so many problems.
Well, I agree. So I want to get into these new taxes. But let's start with, where the taxes come from in the first place. So where do taxes like the billionaire's tax, where do you think this movement came from? You started a movement, really, I think, in the 1970s and 80s of lower taxes. And now there's this apparent movement towards higher taxes, particularly on those who have money to invest.
Yeah. Let me give a little background if I can.
Please.
You forgive me. In 1944, the highest income tax rate in the United States was
90+%.
94%. Today it is
37. Well,
40%. Yes.
40%.
Okay, 39, whatever. But it's way, way down.
Way down.
If you look at the capital gains tax rate, the same thing.
Right.
If you look at states, I mean, for example, in 1976, there was only one state in the United States that did not have a death tax, and that was Nevada. Today, 38 states have gotten rid of their death tax. I don't think there's a state now that has the inventory tax anymore. When you look at this thing, I worked with your former governor, a guy named Fife Symington, who, by the way, you look a lot like, by the way, on the phone. He was one of my dearest friends ever. We got the tax rate in Arizona down from 8+%. But we would have gotten it to zero. And I'm working with your legislature, have worked to get your rates down low. So I work with all of these states, Prop 13, all of them. We have been winning like mad. So when you look at a wealth tax and say, oh my God, where do these things come from? They have been losing. We've been kicking their tush for years and years and years, and we are going to continue winning. I just debated Emmanuel Saez at La Ventre de la Bête, which is the womb of the beast, in Berkeley, California, at the university, in Jarvis Hall. How right that is. But it's right next to Sproul Hall. As you know, that's the communist university of the world. Saez and Piketty are the two main authors of the wealth tax of the world. You should have your people look at it. You can look at it on YouTube. It's 2 hours long. And I would love your people to watch it carefully because this is what you got to do to win. Be nice, be sweet, and just beat the living hell out of them with facts, with truth, with beauty, the American way. So that's where I'm at in this stuff. So when you look at this wealth tax has been around for a long time. The whole U.S. started at least in 1932, I think state and local taxes were like 4 times larger than federal and state taxes combined.
Right.
And as you know, all local taxes are wealth taxes. They're
Right.
called property taxes. And they are so we are very familiar with wealth taxes in America. And you've seen local governments just go crazy with them and do bad things. And sometimes they do them right. And so it's not new. It's not it's not original. These guys are doing it there. They're going to get their tushes handed to them badly. So the more they do this silly stuff, the worse they become, and we will, I mean, just maul them.
Well, let's get right into it then. So
Sure.
let's
Ready.
start with the true wealth tax, the California tax.
Yeah, let's do that one. It's
That's it.
5% on all people,
True
billions
confiscation of wealth, 5%, supposed to be one time, right? It's never going to affect anybody less than $1 billion.
But that's the corny way these professors sit there and try to do it. So by making it one time, they think they've eliminated a bunch of arguments against it because now they'll expect it and now it'll ruin them. No one will ever come here. No, it's only going to be one time. That's it. Never. They're just lying. And they are sitting there. They say, I don't know if you're aware, but the tax does not start at 1 billion. All right. The tax victim starts at 1 billion, but the tax is on all of the wealth from the
Right.
first dollar to anything, the total amount. So once you
Right.
hit 1 billion, they go back and tax your first billion, just like the second billion. So, these are all gimmicks. These are all tricks. These are all things done there. And they also exclude property taxes from it so they don't get in the way of Proposition 13, which already is a constitutional amendment there. There are all sorts of ways here. It's a bunch of neophytes who don't know what they're doing, who don't understand economics, are doing this to make a big show. You should have your people watch the debate at YouTube. It's 2 hours long, and it is me versus Emmanuel Saez. It's called The Clash of the Titans. Have your people watch it because you'll see how I handle him. You'll see how he responds. It's a very civilized debate. It's not screaming and hollering or any of that stuff. It's just the facts. The 3 words in the English language I hate most are, in my opinion, in German it's nach meiner Meinung, in French it's à mon avis, but they're the worst 3 words because I could give a damn what your opinion is. I really could. I don't care. I care about facts, not how you feel. And this is a factual date. This is a killer of a proposition. And if it were to pass and get into effect, they would be driven out within a year on rails and killed and rooted and tarred and
Okay,
feathered.
so let's talk about that,
Sure.
Dr. Laffer. Let's talk about what you see happening if they do pass. It's a 5% tax, so you're talking about $50 million, right, of tax on $1 billion, and you're saying, okay, so now what? Let's project a year. Let's project a year, 2 years, 3 years. What do you see happening as a result of that tax? Because
Well, the
this
first
is
thing
what
I
I
expect to
this is what I
see.
want to address here.
Well, the first thing I would expect to see is I expect to see a court challenge of it right away.
Of
And I think
course.
there's a very, very reasonable chance it would be thrown out. Number one. I'm not saying it would be. I'm not a lawyer. I think before I speak. That's a joke. I'm not a lawyer. I think before never mind. But if you look at this, they've got all sorts of challenges there. The constitutional challenge, I think, is really a very serious challenge on this as well. And I go through that in my debate with Emmanuel Saez, and I can send a paper to you as well on the wealth tax, which I'll be glad to
Well,
send right after
So,
this.
so let
But
me ask you a question about that real quick. So property tax is a wealth tax, and property tax is not being challenged, is unconstitutional at the state and the local level. So why would this tax be challenged constitutionally at the state level? I understand why we have a constitutional issue at the federal level, but why would it be a constitutional issue at the state
well,
level?
I'm not a lawyer, but I did go through it, and it is unconstitutional to single out a very small group of people because of special characteristics of those people. and have a very punitive tax on those people. It's called the Bill of Attainder. It just fits exactly what's there. I mean, these are old, white, male Jews that they're going after. I mean, that's what it is.
So, okay, I get that.
Yeah. And, so I think that is the big challenge on the Constitution. I don't think there's a chance that they will miss, but I'm not a lawyer. Again,
what do you think's driving this? I mean,
I'll tell you.
You've got the Democratic Socialists in New York. You've got them in California. What's driving this?
They hate rich people.
This type of
Why now?
Yeah, let me just say this type of selective bias is the very essence of the Bill of Attainder prescribed in the Constitution, in that it, number one, proposes a punishment of a 5% wealth tax ex post facto. Ex post facto, you can't prepare for it.
Right.
Targets individuals and specific groups, which it clearly does. 4 people pay well over half of this tax, 4 people, specific groups, and does so in a manner that bypasses judicial protections. So this is something that cannot be adjudicated by the courts, because it bypasses the courts, because it does by a constitutional amendment to the state of California. All 3 of those are precluded in this thing. It just fits the Bill of Attainder precisely. Now, I'm not a lawyer, so maybe there is some sneaky little way of getting around it, but that is what this Constitution provided protection from. You can't go and say, you can't go and just say, Tom, I don't like you, and therefore I'm going to pass a bill to tax you $100 million. It's just can't be done. So that's my legal one.
Okay.
There are a couple of other legal ones that are true as well.
So what do you think the consequence would be? Let's say it does pass. Let's say it passes. It doesn't get thrown out by the court. It's get instituted. What's the consequence?
Okay, now let me tell you why I'm going to say what I'm going to say first, so you know it. We have had many episodes in California history where we have had big tax increasers and big tax cutters. We've seen them everywhere. Now, they've tried to preclude any type of comparison, so you can't use data. Yes, you can. For example, when in 1967, when the governor of California took office, and I think it was January 67, his name was Ronald Reagan. He raised the highest income tax rate from, was it
7 to 10?
7 to 12, 11%.
7 to 10. Then he raised another point.
Yeah, he says he raised it 7 to 11%. So that's a big enough increase for you, isn't it?
Yep.
All right. Holy golly. Oh, Steve, just tell Steve I'll call him right back. He raised the corporate rate from 5 to 9%. He raised the sales tax rate in California by a bunch. By like 2 or 3 percentage points. He raised he just taxed everything. It was the biggest tax increasing governor in U.S. history. And it was the worst performance, 8 years, the worst 8 years performance under Reagan of any governor in California history. We shrank relative to the rest of the nation. Then the next governor came along, a guy named Jerry Brown, who came in, and Jerry was 75. He came in 75. He got rid of the inventory tax. He indexed the personal income tax. He cut property taxes to, 2.7%. Effective rate to less than 1%. We had the biggest boom ever. California increased its share of the U.S. from 10% to 14%. Just a smashing boom period, though. We have lots of evidence in California. We saw what happened when Pete Wilson raised the income tax rate dramatically, and then he dropped it at the end. And you can see we have just tons and tons of evidence right from California to show that if they do this, there will be a catastrophic collapse in the state of California. They will not get the money. Their budgets will go to hell in a handbasket. You want the exact numbers? I don't know. But when Prop 13 passed, our unemployment rate in California is about 2.5% above the national average, 2.5% above the national average. After Prop 13, it was below the national average. We had the biggest boom ever. We grew by San Francisco a year. In the full next 8 years, they grew by a whole Massachusetts. It was an incredible rate. California housing prices in 1976, 77 were about the same as the U.S. average. Median home prices were right in there. By the end of the next 10 years, they were double the national average. We had the biggest creation of wealth ever in U.S. history, California history. So if you play that film backwards, what do you think is going to happen? Crapsville. You look at no. You need this evidence. We have 9 states in the United States that don't have an income tax. We have 9 states in the United States that have the highest income tax rate. The 9 states with no income tax beat the living bejeebers out of those states. They have gone from 10% of personal income in the U.S. in 1970 to 28% today. All right, I'm very close to the right number. Then we have 11 states in the United States that have introduced an income tax since 1960, starting in West Virginia in 1961, ending in Connecticut in 1991 with Lowell Weicker there. There are 11 states, includes Maine, it includes Rhode Island, it includes Connecticut, it includes New Jersey, it includes Pennsylvania, it includes Ohio, Indiana, Illinois. What have I missed? Nebraska, I missed Nebraska. Michigan, I missed Michigan. If you look at those states have gone from about 35% of the U.S. down to a little bit less than 20% of total personal income. We have so much evidence on what taxes do to states that I'm always gagging. And this guy didn't know any of those facts, none of them. I mean, so what do you want? You can see what happened when we had Kennedy as president of the United States who cut tax rates, called the go-go 60s. You saw when Reagan switched, he now became the biggest tax cutter. What happened in the 80s with Reagan? We went to the moon. You know, we have all of this stuff. It's all documented. It's there. These guys don't look at facts. What do I think will happen to California if this happens? It will be Crashville. They will not get the money. The poor especially will be crippled in the state. That's what will happen.
So,
like clear enough for you?
I got it. So let's shift a little bit from a wealth tax, which I think is the worst kind of tax.
It's pretty bad.
I think it's a horrible idea. But let's shift to the 2 millionaires taxes that have been passed recently, Massachusetts and Washington State.
And Washington State, yeah, great. What do you think is going to happen there?
So how is that different? Do you think it will have a different effect? Do you think it'll have the same effect?
It'll have the same effect, probably greatly reduced effect, but yes, I mean, it'll have the same effect. I mean, let's just think of it conceptually. Let's imagine we have 2 locations, A and B, all right? And we raise taxes in B and we lower them in A. Producers and manufacturers and people are going to move from. Am I going way over your head on this one?
We got it.
I mean, what are the fastest growing states in the nation? They're the 9 states that have no income tax. Hands away, we just kick the living crap out of these other states. So if these guys put a millionaire tax, why would a millionaire ever be in that location? And they'll leave. Why do you think I left California in 2006? I mean, when Schwarzenegger turned to the dark side, I said, I'm out of here, dude. I don't need to be in California. I love California, but I'm in the lowest tax state in the nation. This state is spectacular. We are the lowest. We have no income tax, no earned income tax, no gift tax, no state tax, the lowest property tax, the best improvement of public services of any state in the nation. We are running the largest surplus for our size of any state in the nation. I mean, we're just doing great.
Remind everybody what state you're in.
I'm in Tennessee.
Tennessee. There you go.
Yeah, and you know, we made it unconstitutional to put in an income tax. Right to work is unconstitutional. We have right to work in the Constitution of the Tennessee. I mean, we have the biggest improvement in school education of any state in the nation. I mean, what do you want? You cannot tax a state into prosperity. Excuse me for saying that, but if you tax something, you get less of it. And if you tax people income, they will reduce the amount of income they earn. It's just straight common sense. And these guys are so dodo and so dumb that they don't even. Asayas is supposedly a professional economist. He's not. He got an honorary degree from Harvard. I rest my case. Now, as you know, I got my PhD at Stanford. I did my undergraduate at Yale in economics honors. All right, I did my thing. I taught at the University of Chicago. I went through all the ranks there. And these guys don't even know economics. And I don't care if it's Yale or Harvard or Princeton. They're just talking politics, blabber flab. That's all they're doing. And they don't know it. Watch that debate. Tell me how I do on that debate versus him. Just look at what he says. Fine. Well, I'm sorry. I'm wrong. You were right. I mean, oh, God, help me.
So there's a there was an article recently in the Wall Street Journal about the way Great Britain is taxing tennis players. They
Yeah, I
actually
did.
tax the athletes on the number of
I
days
know.
as a
I saw it. I
percentage
read it.
of their
Global income.
total income.
Yeah, global
Okay, and
income.
as a result, the top tennis players are playing in Germany. They're not playing
What
in
about the
England.
Beatles? What the Rolling Stones do? Have we forgotten all those stories too? They had to go to France to get out of the British
Right?
tax of 98%. Yikes. We've had this lesson played to us so many times, and that it's just disgusting that it even is even raised again,
Why
but it
why
is
why 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 don't people learn? Why?
because they're not educated. I mean, read my books. It's all there. You can read them. I mean, everything you look at, it's not only data, it's just common sense. If you tax people's income, what will they do? They'll not report higher incomes. That's all. If you look at my book with Brian Dimitri, who's sitting right next to me here, it's called Taxes Have Consequences. It's the entire history
I
of the
love it.
U.S. income tax. I mean, we go through from 1913 to the present. We have every single tax return. What happens when you raise the highest tax rate in the top 1% of income earners? Three things happen. When you raise tax rates on the rich, three things happen. Number one, the economy underperforms. Number two, tax revenues from the rich go down. They don't go up, they go down. And number three, the poor get hammered. Question: what happens every single time you lower tax rates on the rich, like Kennedy, like Reagan, like Trump? What happens when you do that? Three things happen. The economy outperforms, tax revenue from the rich go way up, and the poor get jobs, they get employment, they get income, and they get their lives benefited. That's what every single time. It's not like well, this one it did, that one it didn't. No, no, every time. And we've got every tax return for the whole period. I'm not sampling these or any of that. We have every single tax return. We don't know the people's names, but we got every single tax return.
Let me shift just
I'm
for a
sorry.
second.
I'm sorry. The evidence is
This
really
is
hard.
this is all good. This is all good. But I want to shift just for a second, if we could, to incentives in the tax law,
Sure.
because there's a question. Yeah, I've written books about tax incentives, tax-free wealth, and the
Yeah.
win wealth strategy, which I know you're aware of, and there's very clearly certain investments that the government will practically pay you to make, whether it's real estate or business
Yeah.
or,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, what do you think of those types of incentives? Because the other side would say they're terrible, that we should get rid of them, and that we just have a big tax on everybody.
No, you have a little tax on everybody with no exclusion. What you need on taxes, the North Star of taxation, is the lowest possible tax rate on the broadest possible tax
Okay.
base.
So you're a broad, which is what happened, which is what you did in 1986, Ronald
We
Reagan,
got it from 14 brackets down to
down
two.
to two.
How's that
Yep.
for cool? I mean, you want the lowest possible tax rate so people have the least incentives to evade, avoid, or otherwise not report taxable income. And you have the broadest possible tax base, so you provide people with the least places they can stick their income to avoid paying taxes, get rid of all the deductions, exemptions, exclusions, omissions, write-offs, credits, all that garbage, get rid of all that, a low rate on a broad base, and let government do the little bitty things they're supposed to. Defend us, provide a judiciary, do those things, and then don't bother us anymore. Get out of our lives.
So you'd like to take the incentives out of the tax law and let it function just as
Yeah.
a revenue raiser.
Let me just be serious with you here again. There are two types of incentives in this world. They're positive and negative. By way of illustration, if you beat a dog, a negative incentive, you know where the dog will not be. It will not be anywhere near you,
Right.
but you have no idea where the dog will be. It's going to take off. Negative incentives tell you what not to do. If, on the other hand, you feed the dog, you know where the dog will be at feeding time. It will be right there with you. Positive incentives tell you what to do,
Right.
and negative incentives tell you what not to do. You never mix positive and negative. Collecting tax revenues for running government in defense of the nation is a negative. It is a negative. So you want to do the least damage possible to collect the requisite revenues to have the government functions that must be done, and then you stop already. That's what you do.
So we started with these incentives back in the 50s, and then
Our whole history.
we got more of them with Kennedy, and we got actually Reagan added a lot of incentives, particularly in the real estate industry.
They all do.
They all do. So what are the chances of ever not having them? I mean, it seems to me like we're stuck with them.
100%. That's why I gave you the first numbers. What was the highest marginal income tax rate in 1944? We're winning.
94%, yeah.
Yeah, we're winning. We're winning every time we go 5 steps forward. Yeah, they push us 2 steps backwards, but we're winning. You know, the government took control of money in 1913. You know, we were on a gold standard where the government, it was a private money system. They were banknotes issued by private entities called banks. Now, they were audited by government, which is a proper role, which is there. But we had no inflation from 1776 to 1913. The government monopolized money after 1930. Now we've had price levels gone up 36-fold. We're going to go back. That's what cryptocurrencies are all about, is taking away the control the monopoly government has on money, and they're going to succeed. We're going to win on all of these issues, Tom. It just takes a little bit of time. You know, we're mortals. We get sucked into good arguments. Some lefty says you'll give you free school, you know, what the hell is the government doing in education? I mean, what are they doing in that? They should not be in education. It should be private. Now, you know, the scholarships or whatever you should have and all that stuff. But education before, what was it, 1850 or 60? Well, that's when we became the preeminent force on planet Earth with private education. Now, you may like Milton Friedman. He wants to give little voucher plans and all that. I'd vote for vouchers. I would. But you shouldn't have government education to begin with. It just shouldn't. You shouldn't have Yale be government supplied free to everyone. Everyone can go to Yale. No, they can't. You know, and, you know, when you do this stuff, when the government starts in there and trying to redistribute, I'm going to tell you about what's called the transfer theorem. And I think you'll like this, Tom. The transfer theorem is math. Now, you know, I'm a professor, PhD, fastest promotion to tenure at Chicago, and all that. This is my gig. I'm an academic and I'm a mathematician. All right. The transfer theorem has to do with math. It's not about opinions. This is about facts. It's a math theorem. And let me go through it with you carefully, because your audience will like this. A transfer is whether the government takes something from someone and gives it to someone else. It can take it from young people and give it to old people, which is called Social Security. It can take it from tall people to give it to short people. I love that one. It can take it from girls to give it to boys. I like that one. A transfer. We normally talk about transfers with respect to income categories. It's called redistribution in this case, where you take from those who have a little bit more and you give to those who have a little bit less. You with me?
Yep.
This is the Robin Hood theorem, but it's
sure. This is Karl Marx.
Well, we just do it in our income tax, but progressive income tax, based on 100%.
Yep.
Now, if you take from those who have a little bit more, you reduce their incentives to produce, don't you?
Right.
And they will produce a little bit less. You with me?
Yep.
I'm not going way over anyone's head, am I?
You're good.
Now, if you give to those who have a little bit less, you provide them with an alternative source of income other than working, don't you? And they too will produce a little bit less. The theorem here, and it's just plain math. Whenever you redistribute income, you always reduce total income. Always. It's math. Yeah, I don't care if you're a tall, skinny professor from Harvard, a little short, fat one from MTSU. It's math. Whenever you redistribute income, you always reduce total income. Now, the lemma from this theorem that you'll like. All right, you ready for the lemma? The more you redistribute, the greater will be the total reduction in production or income. That's pretty obvious. I'm not going to prove that one to you verbally. But what I do want to prove to you verbally is the limit function of this theorem. And is Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren or AOC, and are they on your podcast, listeners? Boop.
I'm sure not.
I hope they are, because this is the one they don't get. They're just dumb as stumps, but they don't get it. The limit theorem is, if you were able to redistribute income in such a way that everyone comes out the exact same, there will be no income whatsoever. Now, let me prove this to you verbally. And the proof here is really important. In order to get everyone to come out the exact same, the Fabian socialist state, what you would have to do to get everyone to come out exactly the same after subsidies and taxes is you'd have to tax everyone who makes above the average income, 100% of the excess, and subsidize everyone below the average income up to the average income. Only in that way can you guarantee that everyone will have the same income. You with me?
Yep.
Now, if you actually did that, if you actually taxed everyone above the average income, 100% of the excess, and if you actually subsidize everyone below the average income up to the average income, I will stipulate today, Counselor, everyone come out equal at zero income. That is the only way you can get income equality is if everyone is at zero.
Well, that's the challenge, right? Is that what you do is you bring everybody down. Everybody comes down together.
That's the point. That's theorem. That's the math. You know, people respond to incentives. I'm sorry. I used to give my students this one. I said, you know, if I ran this class the way your government runs your country, what I'd do is I'd flunk all the A students out and I'd give all the F students scholarships. Now, before you giggle, don't giggle. Please don't. If I actually did that there, I'd flunk all the A students out and give all the F students scholarships. Now, once I changed the rules, my A students happen to be a little bit smarter than my F students. So they are able to get lower grades than my F students are because they never randomly make the mistake of guessing a correct answer. My A students still get all the scholarships. My F students are still flunked out. I have not changed the distribution of grades one iota. But what have I done? I've destroyed the entire quality of the educational process. Every revolution on planet Earth has been fought to change the distribution of income. That's every single one. Not one has ever succeeded. All right. But what all of them have succeeded in doing is destroying income and the quality of life in this world. So these guys are once again taking us over the cliff. Say, trust me, jump with me. Let's go. No, I will win again and again and again and again. These guys don't know economics. They're bad politics, and we will beat them to a pulp. But please get your people to watch the debate because, you know, seeing someone in isolation talk about something, they can mislead you. When they asked me to be in this debate with Saez, they wanted to make it 45 minutes an hour. I said, no, I won't do it. But if you make it not 2 hours, I will, because I want everyone to be able to get all of the words out that they ever want to do. I want to sit there and say, well, how much? Well, can we stop early? You know, I want to be able to hear everyone to the fullest extent. You need to have the point and counterpoint. Otherwise, you don't understand the issues. Watch it with Saez. He's the biggest advocate of wealth taxes in the world.
Yep.
And me, I think they suck. And, you know, I like him very much personally. He's a froggy. He's a wonderful guy. He's very Frenchy. He's got a great accent and this. But what? Because you've got to see it in the context of a debate. Otherwise, you miss the point, counterpoint, the contrast. So have your people, please, and you especially, Tom, you watch it and you can replay it on your show. You've got my full permission.
We'll do it. Can I take one incentive and get your view on it? Okay, so one of the big incentives under both of Trump's tax bills has been 100% expensing bonus depreciation. Okay, which actually is an incentive to, and it's a redistribution because it's incentivizing investing in equipment, investing in real estate, particularly the.
Gotcha.
Okay,
I understand exactly what you're saying.
Walk us through how that redistribution affects the economy.
Now, I want to talk to it in two senses. One is there should never be a corporate tax at all.
Okay, so eliminate the corporate. Just a business
What you
tax.
want to do is do what I did with Jerry
income.
Brown. I don't know if you remember Jerry Brown. He ran for president. He's one of my dearest friends. He's retired for quite a while now. We used to go to dinner with my wife, and I used to go to dinner with him and Linda Ronstadt. He's just a great guy, one of the best governors ever in California history. When he ran for president, I was his economist. We got rid of all federal taxes, all of them. Well, I'm lying to you. We didn't get rid of them all. We kept sin taxes, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. Right. We Americans don't like drunk people smoking while we shoot each other. All right. It's a small thing. We got rid of all federal taxes and replace it with two flat rate taxes. One on business net sales, you can call that value added, and one on personal and adjusted gross
Okay.
income with no deductions, no exemptions, no exclusions, no write-offs, no credits, nothing. You pay on the first dollar you earn to the end dollar. And we had a low rate broad-based flat tax of 13%. That was it. We got rid of all federal taxes. Now, the 13% was that, I mean, he went from eighth in the race in the Democratic primary, eighth in the race to second in the race. We had that blue-eyed lip sucker from our Hope, Arkansas on the ropes. Billy Clanton, who was there. We had just won the primary in Connecticut. Now, this is the Democratic left-wing primary. With our flat tax, we won the primary in Connecticut. We won the primary in Oregon. We were coming into the two big ones, New York and California, and we had that son of a bee on the run. We had him dead. Jerry Brown was going to be the next president of the United States with a low rate flat tax, down 13%, the highest tax rate. How's that for cool? Wait. And then, of course, he's coming into the New York primary and he announces Jesse Jackson as his running mate. We lost the primary there, but we still had the second largest number of delegates in the Democratic convention in 1992, second largest next to Clinton. I mean, this stuff is really popular. Every one of your listeners wants a low rate broad-based flat tax, every single one of them. So when you ask me, what about that deduction? What about this one? What about first place? There should be no corporate tax. Why would you tax companies that make high quality products at low cost and eschew the use of lawyers, accountants, deferred income specialists, favor grabbers, accountants, all that? Why would you tax them more than losers? The one thing you want to do is tax companies that lose, not companies that win. And so you want a value added tax instead of a corporate. So that's the way I'd go. Now, when I look at specific tax codes and deals like you're talking about to me here, I ask myself, I look at that North Star, the low rate, broad-based flat tax, the one I did for Jerry Brown with no deduction. Does this specific policy move us towards that North Star or away from that North Star? I don't want to argue about this paragraph, that paragraph, the other, but when you take the whole thing, does it move it? What do I think of Trump's economics? I think Trump, on balance, has been a damn good president in this area. He has moved us towards the North Star. He dropped the highest corporate tax rate from 35 to 21. 100% expensing in this context is great. He lowered the personal income tax from 39.6 to 37. He got rid of the Obamacare fee if you don't use it. I could go. He put in some workfare in there. He put in some, transparency stuff in there. Now, are there parts of that bill I don't like? Of course there are. But I'm not going to let you sucker me into talking only about the parts that are not good in that bill and making Trump look bad, when in fact the whole bill is damn good. Okay? The bill as a whole moves us towards truth, beauty, and the American way is the way I use it.
Good. I agree with that.
I know you do. I know you do.
I think the 2025 bill was a better bill than the 2017 bill.
Thank you. That's all. And what they do, what MSNBC and all these others try to get me to do is come in and talk about tariffs, this, there, and I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to sandbag Trump because he makes one provision in the bill I don't like, and so therefore I'm bashing that provision and I'm sandbagging. No, I'm not going to let you do that. I look at the total bill. Was there stuff in Reagan? No, I worked with Reagan from the beginning. My godfather was his best friend. That's how I got the relationship with him. Am I going to sit there and bash Reagan because he did something I didn't like? No. Reagan as a president was as good as they come. He was Lady Thatcher, phenomenal. I worked with her. Jerry Brown, the best governor ever in California history. I mean, it was. Yeah, he's a weirdo Democrat. Go for it. Jared Polis, Colorado. Okay, he's gay. He's the single best governor Colorado's ever. He dropped the income tax. He dropped the property tax rates. He dropped sales tax rates. He didn't do the lockdown there. He's a Democrat. Now, he happened to have interned in my office at 13 years old. And I'm on the boards of all his countries. But I don't like him because of that. I like him because of his policies. I could give a damn if you're gay or straight as long as you like tax cuts. If you like tax cuts, you got a seat in my tent. All right? I'm just That's me. And I'll work for Democrats or Republicans, and I don't give a damn. I'll work for commies and capitalists as long as they like lower taxes and free enterprise. You follow me?
I love it. I love it. We've been with Dr. Art Laffer. His book is Taxes Have Consequences, which I love the title of the book because there's so many things, whether it's, the garbage tax in Japan to the dance hall tax that got us jazz clubs. I mean, there's so many consequences. I love that you're going through the history of the income tax and look at that because taxes have consequences. As you say, anything you tax, you get less of.
Now, can I say something to your audience, Tom, if I can?
Please.
If any of you, if you have anyone, I'm not going to make any because I don't take commissions on my book. All right. We've done very well in sales. But if any of your viewers would like to have me sign it, why don't they have you? And I'll send the book to you. You get their names.
Awesome.
And it just cover the cost of my mail and the books, my special low cost of the book. It's a great big thick thing. It's the whole history of the U.S. I will be glad to sign it and send it to you, Tom.
We will do it. I'll be first.
Huh?
I'll be first.
I'll be there, and you just get in there. The only thing I do requires you cover my costs.
Awesome.
And that's it. And I promise not to take any commissions on it because I don't need them.
I love
I'll
it.
send it to you, and if you can, and I will sit there and do as many as 100, 150 of them if you'd like.
I love it. I love it. We will do that. We'll push that out. Our listeners are going to want more of you, and where can they get more information about what
From
you're doing?
you. I'm 85 years old. I'm going to be 86 in 2 months. I'm not trying to build a resume. I don't run. I don't do texting. I don't have an email. My office does here. All that stuff. Do you speak German at all?
I do not. I speak French.
Oh, well, too bad, because the German has a beautiful one. Ich bin nicht von gestern. Ich bin von vorgestern. I'm not from yesterday. I'm from the day before yesterday. So anything you guys do,
Awesome.
get it through you. If you want me to be on the show again, I'd love to do it with you, Tom.
That would be awesome.
I know you're one of the truth, beauty, and the American ways. And if we can go through money stuff, I haven't touched on that, whether regulations or trade. I mean, I'm a trade economist by profession. You can look at all my books.
Well, maybe we can get you. I would love you hit a nerve for me when you start talking about the value-added tax. Maybe we can get you back and talk about the value-added tax because that has been something I've been preaching for 30 years. And that's
you're just a kid.
Yeah,
I wish. I wish.
I am not that far behind you. I wish I were, but I'm not. So we've had Dr. Art Laffer with us. Such an amazing conversation. Thank you, Dr. Laffer. And just remember, the reason we bring people like Dr. Laffer on the Wealthability Show is because that's the way we get a broader view of what's really going on and where we get the actual facts instead of looking at all the opinions and the one-liners that get the press. We actually get the facts, and we do that. And when we get all the facts, we're always going to make way more money. And you'll love this, Dr. Laffer, and pay way less tax.
Yay! I'm Tennessee. It's a lot more fun earning income here in Tennessee when you don't have to pay a tax on it.
There you go. Thanks for listening to the Wealthability Show. If today's episode gave you a new perspective, remember this: the tax law is not your enemy. It's a roadmap. And when you know how to follow it, you can build real, lasting wealth. If you're a business owner or investor who's tired of overpaying taxes, the Wealthability Accelerator is your next step. You'll have the opportunity to work directly with me for 80% less than my standard rate. And I'll personally guide you through how to change your facts so that you can change your tax. Go to wealthability.com/bonus and apply today. Remember, it's not just what you make, it's what you keep.
This podcast is a presentation of Rich Dad Media Network.